Just splendid, isn't it? Splendid, honestly. And Kenneth, thank you. We'll be giving you the numbers, but not from Yusuf or me. We have our guests here, and luckily or fortunately, we have the Minister of Transportation, Right Honorable Chibike Rotimi Amechi, who is right here with us. I'm sure a very proud man. Good morning, Honorable Minister.
Good morning.
We also have with us Dr. Bashir Jamo, who also is a happy man today, Director General, Nigerian Maritime Administration Safety Agency, NIMASA. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Claire.
And from our Lagos Network Center is Fided Ohiria, Managing Director, Nigerian Railway Corporation. It's a pleasure to welcome you and to have you on Good Morning Nigeria this morning.
Good morning, Nigeria.
All right, now let's get going and then see what justice we can make to this topic in the next 2 hours or thereabout. Honorable Minister, let me start with you. Let me start by congratulating you and then saying that you've done a good job. Your office has been very busy these days, at least in the past 3 years. Looking at what you have on the table, especially the rail network and a lot of other things like that. Now, Ndulu has said we should be having the figures and the numbers and the rest of them. But before we get down to that, as Clear said, how busy have you been in the past 3 years talking about rail transportation in this country? Give us the numbers and the figures.
I don't know what you mean by numbers and figures as compared to the question you asked about how busy I have been. I've been extremely busy, so let me start with that. But when it comes to the nitty-gritty of numbers, ask the technical people. That would be the GD of NIMASA and the MD of Railway. They run the numbers. They know how much they get and what they do with this. What they run their agencies.
Right.
But in terms of being busy, if you watch my speech at, I don't know if my publicists would like me to say this. If you watch my speech at Nsukka, you will see that I rushed that speech. I was feeling as if I was collapsing. I wasn't sure whether I was collapsing or I was alive. But I had to rush it so I can go and sit down. When I spoke to my doctor, he said, that's the extreme. I'm pushing myself. I should slow down so that I don't get myself into medical crisis. I'm lucky I have no medical problem whatsoever for now. But the reason for pushing myself is basically I'm employed by the Buhari's government to serve Nigerians. And if President Buhari has thought it necessary that one of the items he needs to deliver is railway, and I've been assigned that responsibility, then apart from the 6 or 4 hours I sleep in a day, the rest should be focused on how to deliver that. Moreover, when he gives you all the support that you have or you need to be able to deliver that. So basically, the ministry is split into 2 major parts, the maritime sector and the railway sector. Even though there's also the land transportation sector, but that we're more or less a supervisory agency. The responsibility we share with Federal Ministry of Works. So in the past, what have we done? We've been able to complete the Kaduna-Abuja rail line, which was started under President Goodluck Jonathan's government. And as we have also been able to complete the Itabe-Warri. If you ask me which is one you would be proud of the most, is it Itabe-Warri? And the reason why, I will tell you why. The reason why I say Itabe-Warri is that Nigeria would have been the first country in Africa to have had standard gauge if we had completed that Itabe-Warri at the time it was awarded. Okay. But it was abandoned for 32 years. So the extra 2 to 3 years we used to complete maybe 34 years. So imagine if we had completed it 32 years ago, or even 28 years ago, we would have been the first country. And if we had continued from where they had stopped, Nigerian government, maybe by now would have gone around the country. And I continue to ask, if all we need to go around the country is about $36 billion, are we saying that from the time the Itabe-Warri started, we would not have had $36 billion to have completed all the rail line in the country? So I am spurred by the enthusiasm of the president, who says, well, Amici, just do your work and let history be our judge. Let us, when we leave government, let them assess what we've done. So the day he, without borrowing, released the fund, or directed Minister of Finance to release the fund for Itabe-Warri, I was extremely happy. And we not just completed, we designed it. It was initially designed just as more or less a cargo rail line. without, you will say, well, what is a cargo rail line? If you put a passenger locomotive on it to carry passengers. But there were no stations. Okay. So we had to build stations, and then we're planning to extend it into the seaport. He has even given us approval to extend it to the water and build a new seaport in Warri. So that's what excites me the most, especially when my brothers in the South criticize me or President Buhari to say, what have you done in the South? And I say that there are only about 2 communities on the Itabe Warri. The rest of them are all in the South, so mostly Edo and Delta. Okay. And so what excites me further is the fact that Nigerians are able to use that transportation from Warri to Itabe for 2,500, and another 3,500 by bus or taxi from Itabe to Abuja. So for those who fly, they were paying 60,000 naira. Now you can come with 6,000 naira and be able to save yourself 54,000 naira. Those who go by road pay about 20,000 naira to something. They're able to save, if they come by 6,000 naira, they're able to save 14,000 naira. So President Buhari does not need to come to your house and give you 54,000 naira. He has contributed 54,000 naira to your economy or income by reducing that means of transportation. For the one of Lagos Ibadan, as usual, you know our Lagos, as soon as you do something that is right, they are top of the heavens or the moon, screaming how good it is. That same rail, the day the toilets go bad, you will not know that they once praised us. So that's what's fine. But we're proceeding quickly, and the president, by next week, we should be able to see whether he's available to give us a particular day. When I'm the president, I'm talking about his office, that the president will be available to lead the groundbreaking of the Kaduna rail line, which we believe, if we get the resources, we should be able to rush to complete it before we leave office.
When are we expecting that to happen?
Well, the office of the president will give you the date, but we're ready. We're actually ready to commence. But we have to get to the office of the president to give us a date. The president will either come physically or by virtual means to lay the foundation stone or the groundbreaking for the Kaduna rail. But within this year again, we should be able to do Ibadan to Abuja to connect the Kano Abuja. The same year, we should be able to do Lagos to Calabar. And this year, we should be able to start Port Harcourt to Maiduguri.
All of them this year?
Yes.
Okay, let me...
In fact, if we get the approval for the consulting engineers, I would say that we'll commence work this year before the end of August. But we'll have to wait to get the approval for the consulting engineers.
Let me go back to Lagos Ibadan, the 156 kilometers. You were able to personally get the president to be in Lagos to inaugurate that, so which shows the priority and importance, the president holds. Now that you have delivered, and indeed, the Minister of Transportation in his speech described your passion.
Minister for Transportation?
Minister of Information and Culture.
Okay.
Yes, and talked about your passion. Now that you have delivered that rail, what else?
And the passion will be transferred to Kano Kaduna now. It's the same thing.
Is that all there is?
No.
Are all the structures, the structural components are all that make up the rail, are all standing? Are they up?
Even if you remove the Minister for Transport today, we'll put a structure in place that, unless Nigerians, if you don't go out of it, if you just sit on it, you will just take all the projects through. So even if the reason why I have to visit the different sites where they're working is that most times if you don't go to harass contractors, they sit on their job. So you really have to say, look, this thing called minister, after all, is a human being. Put it aside and be as simple as you can. Go to site, ensure that they keep to targets, hold meetings, give them targets, and insist that the target must be delivered. And then you get it. So it will not just be about Kano Kaduna. Just that for me, what makes me happy about Kano Kaduna is I won't be flying because of the bad weather. So I could drive to Kano in a day and come back the same day after inspection. But we will still be able to go to Port Harcourt, Maiduguri when we start. We're going to start from Maiduguri angle and from Port Harcourt angle. But that really covers up to Warri and up to the whole of Southeast and then to the Northeast. I think I'm part of North Central. That really covers more states than any of the rail tracks that we have in the country. So we're able to go to all those areas and at the same time be able to inspect or manage the Lagos Calabar one, which falls into my zone, which is the South zone.
The extension to Apapa Port, does it solve the whole challenge? Yes.
Maritime challenges.
Yes.
It doesn't. It will at least. The day JAMO commissioned the Deep Blue project, you saw that the seaport was empty. It's discipline. Discipline is management and efficiency. If just because the president is coming, in fact, I made a joke with the president. I said, President, you have to be coming every day to Apapa. if that's what it takes to instill discipline on the users of the seaport, then we need to either clone the president and put him because it's management issue. It's actually somebody just being there and discipline people. No, people who don't have the need to come to the seaport should not come to the seaport. But they just roll in, because it's a security zone. That's what you need to know. People just roll in looking for what to, some pilfer things, steal things and all that. And they have no business being at the seaport. In fact, there's a company near the gate by which the rail comes in. They just park trucks anyhow they like. And I've told the MD of NPA, take the people out of that place. They don't have a reason to be there because they're not exporting, neither are they importing. They're just a company they put in the seaport.
And they might have been back by now. Jamo, the Honorable Minister said it's discipline. Discipline on the part of Nigerians and discipline on the part of you as staff and those managing these areas. How do we get this in order to stop the president from coming to Lagos every day to keep that place clean? How do we keep it wild?
Well, I think, thank you very much, Nadabo. The discipline should come from both sides. You understand? If the importers, they try to conduct themselves in a way and manner they're supposed to do, and then the truck owners as well, I think the discipline will be much better. The Honorable Minister mentioned the traffic management and the whole issue. So also our law enforcement agencies should be able to be available on ground to install such discipline. You see, the problem of this gridlock, Nigerians, they like taking advantage of things. If you can go and conduct research on each truck that you see on that queue, you find out that more than 45%, they don't have business to get to the port. What they are doing, I have my truck and I don't have customer that I will go and carry cargo inside the port. Rather than keeping the truck in my own house, I would rather take advantage of the unfortunate situation, go and queue off, so that I will get near to the gate of the port. And if you come as an importer, you want to carry your cargo, you don't want to go and wait for 7 days in the queue. And this car is maybe about 4 or 5 hours remaining for the truck to get into the port. Then you pay whatever price rather than waiting for 7 days. So the discipline is on both sides. The research can take you where this thing is happening. It's just taking advantage. But I think, as you said, or as Claire mentioned, that the rail line will take certain portion of the solution to the problem, because we are going to reduce the traffic. And now the badges that we are using also, that one also, Honorable Minister mentioned efficiency and effectiveness in terms of our way of managing things within our own port. I think once we install that discipline, we'll be able to get where we're supposed to be. And I think even after the president left, for over 4 or 5 days, such discipline continued to, surface. So I hope we can sustain it.
The expectation was that after the president left, 4 or 5 days, there wasn't so much traffic or gridlock along that line. So Nigerians expect that it would continue, because using the strategy at the beginning, before the president arrived, to the time he came and the time he left, that strategy can be sustained in order to keep that place, safe and free.
Yeah, I think to a large extent I want to agree with you, Nadabu, but Nigerians, some people, they are used to it, getting pre-money through that method. And as you are struggling, as you are fighting to ensure that you sustain it, they are also fighting to sustain their own well-being through illegal ways, through illegal means. But I think those in the hands of our peers, those in the leadership of managing such traffics, they must be ops and doing to ensure that they maintain law and order in such areas.
Okay, Dr. Jamo, I'll put you on hold for a while and still return to the Minister of Transportation, because I know that in the past 6 years there's been a lot of attention, given to rail transport development, and it's I mean there are visible grounds, to see the results. 3 standard, gauge rail lines have been delivered. But that is just an aspect of transportation that the Ministry of Transportation is supervising. We have inland waterways, we have mass transit. Can the Honourable Minister speak to us, on what has been done so far in these other areas?
The next area is maritime, the maritime sector. The maritime sector has so many agencies, unlike railway. Railway is just one agency. It has NIMASA, which Jamo is heading. It has the Nigerian Ports Authority, which is headed by Hadiza Bala Usman. It has Shippers Council, which is headed by Hassan Bello. It has CRFF, and that is Council for Registered Freight Forwarders of Nigeria. And then headed by Sam Wakohu. Then you have NIWA, which is headed by George Malo. You can see it's a potpourri of Nigerians. So you have the Igbos, you have the Hausas. You used to have the Yorubas in NIWA when Dr. Mamora was there. That's how we thought it should be. Just get Nigerians to cover it. Now, they perform different functions. He performs, Dr. Jamu performs the regulatory function.
For NIMASA.
Which is what NIMASA does. When we came, that wasn't the responsibility NIMASA was discharging. NIMASA became a contract awarding agency. So they're awarding schools everywhere. There was total misappropriation of resources and all that. So we then had to appoint Dakuku. With that Dr. Peter Dakuku Peter said, with the responsibility to restore NIMASA into a regulatory agency, and not where you meet people. I met 2 of my friends. I want to see who they are. The day I was submitting Dakuku's name for appointment, they were also going to lobby the president. They were governors to allow their people to be appointed in NIMASA. So I said, why are you here? They said, oh, we want to go to appoint our people to NIMASA. I said, I don't know why. I said, dollars. Exactly. So that was the impression they had about NIMASA. But I think that has changed with the coming of Dakuku and Jamu. It's no longer where you just go and take money and do whatever you want to do. It becomes an agency where not only do they perform regulatory functions, but they return funds to government, which is if you run the NIMASA as a revenue-generating agency, then you miss the point. Then at that point, it does not therefore function properly to regulate maritime operators. Now, I usually say to people that one of the reasons why I was successful as a speaker was, even though we're all equal, I try to live above board. So you don't see me in parties with women, with my colleagues. You don't see me there. You don't see me having to struggle with them for contracts or having to struggle money with them. I just have to live above board. That's how a regulatory agency needs to be. And I think NIMASA is beginning to operate in that light. Now, one of the responsibilities
What was the impact of that?
You can see the discipline in NIMASA now. You can see the fact that they're able to control what happens in their sphere of authority, which has to do with security and administration.
Has it impacted on
insecurity? Well, I'm coming to that. Why were we in Lagos on the what day was that? 10th. It's to commission. Look at the assets. Those assets, like I said, was bought when President Obasanjo was president. But where are they now? Exactly. There's nothing new about those assets. They've been there. They've been bought before. There were helicopters. There were drones. There were everything. Now, when I was buying, the rent culture of our economy, where people don't care about illegality, came back, fought back. The petition to the president. The president directed EFCC to investigate me. I was investigated by 2 different panels. of the city council. And for how much? $195 million. But I stood my ground because I know that if you don't sort out insecurity in our water, we move from number 3 to number 1 in the world. If we don't sort out the problem of insecurity in our water, then you will never move in terms of trade facilitation. And that, who bears the cost? The people. So for me, since NIMASA was not a contract or awarding agency, what is critical is that it must discharge its responsibility on about insecurity. So I got the president to approve that they should, with their own funds, deal with the issue of insecurity. Today, it's a success story. Today, NIMASA is in charge of, with the Navy, Ministry of Defense, and this time we expanded it to include the police, the army, and the Air Force. They should be able to clean the water, and that's the responsibility the managing director has. I mean, the DG has to watch what's happening in the water, ensure that we don't have insecurity any longer in the water because it is borne by our people. That's NIMASA. NPA may not have achieved all the objectives they set out to achieve. Our target as soon as we came to power was that we should be able to clear cargoes in 48 hours and make sure that the seaport is clean. When I mean clean, not by sweeping the place, but by ensuring that you don't have trucks scattered everywhere. You don't have people just strolling into the seaport and going out. Only those who have to do business come into the place. And make sure that people who import or export are able to do that in 48 hours. Were we successful? The answer is no. Why? There are other agencies in the NPA, at the seaport, that you need their participation to be able to achieve that. So you need customs, you need all the other agencies who examine cargoes when they arrive. Now, if those people who examine cargoes are not able to do that in 24 hours, the NPA has no job that can do nothing. NPA can only provide the seaport. But what have they done? Luckily, Customs has gotten approval from the cabinet to buy some equipment that will digitalize the process of clearing. Once that is successful, and with that customs operation, then we should be able to have 48 hours, if not 24 hours. In fact, one of the customs officers told me, we're not looking for 24 hours, we're looking for 4 hours. Yes, but if it is digitalized, you already know what's coming. When it lands, you have what they call the scanners to scan through, so you don't have to open the listing and examine. It just, the guy who is important pays his bills, and the thing just rolls out of the system. So that's what we're doing. NIWA has a bit of problems because every day our water is drying. Look at Lake Chad, look at River Niger. So inland waterways is a problem, but they're working.
Okay, and now let's take a hold on that for a while and move on to Lagos, and then see Philip Ohiria, Managing Director, Nigerian Railway Corporation. You are in Lagos, Mr. Ohiria, and the 3 standard gauge rail lines, Abuja, Kaduna, Itape, Warri, and Lagos-Ibadan, have been commissioned, and they are really up and doing. You are in Lagos looking at, or rather watching at what's really happening. I don't want to ask this banal question, but let me start with it. How is it going with the Lagos-Ibadan? Are you really supervising that? And how is the ticketing system, the passenger system, and everything there? How is it moving on?
On and kicking up fine. The people of Nigeria are responding. They are still celebrating with us. And on the 10th of June, it was like another Independence Day. And the congratulatory message I've received at number what I've been getting since I was born, even at my birth. So I think that president coming to physically commission the rail system gave hope to Nigerians, and they are looking forward for better things. But those of us in the corporation, it's not that we got to sit down and work, because we have to make sure it runs perfectly and deliver the service that we are supposed to deliver. We have to keep to time. We have to make sure the stations are clean so that people will continue to celebrate it. People are trooping into the station every day to see it, to even believe themselves that such infrastructure is in Nigeria. Some still, even when they are there, they still have doubt in their mind. So the pressure is now on us to ensure that we continue to maintain it and take it, keep it to that level that for a very long time. So the service we have increased from the single, that's one round trip, 2 trains a day, to 4 trains a day. And the people are responding by that, I mean patronizing us. Or the ticketing, we are still doing the physical purchase of tickets, the approval for due diligence and other processes to get a partner to do the e-ticketing. Just be approved, and it will soon be advertised. And we have learned from Abuja, Kaduna. I think getting a partner will be faster and quicker this time around, and so that the pressure of people talking about ticket racketeering will not be started in Lagos at all, or Lagos, Ibadan, and Itakpe Warri. And by default, we may even extend it to the narrow gauge so that people can buy their ticket electronically. So we are hoping that sooner than later, the e-ticketing system will be the engine in the corporation's fare system. So it's not just passenger alone. The freight, because we'll just be talking about the port, the congesting the port and Apapa. I'll be discussing with my minister, and thank God it's enthusiastic to ensure that the rail work and the port work. And that can be achieved by using rail extensively in the port. I think a week today, he called the stakeholders in the port and the rail to see how the problem at least can be reduced. And after that meeting, the maritime sector have been meeting. They have met 3 times to see how the rail can be put to effective use in our ports. I tell people, if you move, let's say 2 trains a day of 20 wagons, that's 40 trailer off Apapa Road. But that does not mean the trailer will not still get work. The trailer will go to the rail terminal and move the load to the doorstep of the manufacturer, or take the finished product or the raw material that you want to see, export to the seaports. So 40 trailers off the road a day, and which we can increase up to 100 a day, will mean a lot to the port and our economy, and is a working rail system that can achieve that. So by that, it means more tension, more pressure will be on us to deliver to Nigerians based on investment that the government has made so far. So, and it's just not only discipline. What has led us to this point is our leadership, not just being transparent, but being selfless in their delivery of the project. Okay, if they are not selfless, the project will be stopped, because they put their interest they put the interest of Nigerians and Nigeria above their personal interest, and that is the only way the system can work. As for the operation, we will try and work very assiduously and hard, because we cannot afford people to start messing up the area, and the discipline have to come in, not just on the staff alone, but the users of the rail service. Because if you leave the seat that you are expected to sit, and you sit on the arm will get broken, and that seat will be faulty. If you use newspaper to clean your bum and drop it in the toilet will be blocked. So we are going to do enlightenment and ensure that people use it as it's supposed to be used, and the patriotism should come in this time around, so that we can protect our assets. It's not government assets, it's our own, as I tell people. Because if you try to let the rolling stock vandalize it or the track, it's as if you are vandalizing your personal property, because our commonwealth that will be used to fix it, and it will affect that what would have been used for health or your education for our people. So on our part, we are promising Nigerians that we will double our effort to ensure that we deliver. and improve on the service we are rendering. It's just not the speed alone, but with a good train service, you can time your movement. If we say we are leaving Lagos by 8, we should leave by 8. And if we say we are getting to Ibadan by 10, we should get to Ibadan. So that you can plan, because time, as they say, is money. So knowing that your movement can be timed and scheduled, I think it's also have a way of affecting the economy of a nation. So we are ready to work with the marine department or sector of the economy to ensure that people who clear the goods, instead of wasting money paying demurrage at the port, they should use that money to extend their business.
Here, just one more question from me, and once again, congratulations. You've been in the NRC for a very long time. I'm sure you know how far we have come to getting where we are, to the stage that railway has become routine travel for a lot of Nigerians. Now, given the desperation of a lot of people, to vandalizing, the stock and all that, it should not just be business as usual for us to just speak and appeal and do enlighten. What more? Because the facilities are very important, maintaining them very critical. What more? What practical steps are you putting in place, to ensure, to protect these facilities?
What we are doing immediately is to ensure we encourage and give incentive to the security that we have in our system. We have a full command of the Nigerian police with a commissioner heading them. We also have a full command of the Nigerian Security Civil Defense Corps with a commandant heading them. We are encouraging them more to go out and ensure they prosecute properly. They are picking people and arresting people, but I'm not happy with the way they are being prosecuted. The law is there against vandalization, which can fetch somebody 27 years. But if you just go to court and say stealing or tiffering, instead of charging them appropriately, that we have sat down together and we have with the legal department to ensure that they charge them appropriately. You see, I don't think Nigeria is that bad, but I'm sad to say this, that we find ourselves in a situation where police is arresting police. Railway police, we are arresting township police, for instance, in Enugu. And Enugu police, we arrest railway police for vandalization. In Benue, for instance, police arrested army arrested police. So we mean there are a lot of collusion going on. And so we have to expose these things that are happening. At a time, we engage a community and ask them, bring your vigilante, I will pay you so amount every month. But the so-called elder or community leader now turn to the allocation of rail line to people. Then we have to stop and report to police. So it just, as I said earlier, we have to be selfless and be patriotic in everything we do and know that these things are our own. However, we are considering going in deploying technology, which is at a very, very huge cost. And it is going to affect the rail development. That money that would have been used for providing extra security for the system would have been used in extending or providing rolling stock. So, but we can't do otherwise than to deploy technology through satellite to ensure that if there is a bird touching the rail, we see it. If somebody is cutting the rail, that we can respond quickly. We are trying to look at that option. As a real person, I still believe that by the time we can start to run maybe every 30 minutes, that freight trains passing and passenger passing, train passing, at least the track will be, because it takes you time to go to the track and cut it. So whereas I would say I'm the luckiest person in Nigeria to have a minister that is so obsessed in delivering rail and the president. So even while we have rolling stock still waiting to be deployed, arrangements in place to order more, and with that, we can think very sooner than later, we'll go to at least within every 30 minutes, there will be a train on the track. moving freight, moving goods, moving passengers. I think that's another way of securing our track. Thank you.
Yes, let me get, thank you, Mr. Fidelis Okiria, MD NRC. Dr. Jamu, the world is talking about blue economy. I mean, and fortunately for us, the Cabotage Act has provided a lot of opportunities, for us to happen. What has been our limitations?
Well, the limitation has been the issue of maritime security. The maritime insecurity, was taking a kind of toll into this country. Before now, we used to experience problem of maritime insecurity in the Gulf of Aden, around Somalia, Yemen, and such countries. And shockingly, these things now transform itself and found itself within the Gulf of Guinea and by extension Nigeria in particular. So it's very difficult to achieve anything without security. So I call it a kind of the enabling triangle to address this issue: the good governance, the infrastructure, and then the provision of the security itself. So in terms of good governance, you must be able to have interventionary policies that is favorable, to ensure that you address those issues you mentioned. And in providing such interventionary policies, you must have a sincerity of purpose. Mr. Ikeria said that he's the luckiest person to have the minister and the president. I don't think he can claim ownership or right. If we go back to the maritime industry, the Honorable Minister give you the breakdown of units in the Federal Ministry of Transportation. We have rail, we have maritime, and then we have road transportation. And he mentioned the share, it was Ministry of Works. So,
but we are seeing, the difference is that we are seeing a difference between, in terms of usage, usage of rail, and our use of our waterways. A lot of people are shying away from our waterways because of, again, as you say, insecurity. They said Nigerian waterways is the worst in terms of insecurity. That's what the rating.
So that's why I'm trying to tell my brother in the railway that I'm also the luckiest person, because just last week, Mr. President and my Honorable Minister, they were in Lagos to launch one of the most sophisticated, infrastructure to address such issues. And the Nigerians should understand that the launching of infrastructure is just an official declarations of the availability of those infrastructure. Before the launching in February, there were a lot of issues to do with secured anchorage area. And the Honorable Minister stood firmly to ensure that the right thing must be done. It's the responsibility of the government to provide security for citizenry. And here we are, a private company will come and launch a kind of maritime security without approval of the government. And they are charging, ships coming into Nigeria to pay certain amount of money for providing that security. And he stood firmly and said, no, you cannot do that. Where do you get the approval? And at whose expense you are collecting this huge amount of money? At the expense of Nigerians. The amount of money they received, if you hear, you will be shocked. And who is paying that? Nigeria? You and I, and every other person that were roaming around the street. Now, with these platforms, we received them. By February, we were asked, now there is no more secured anchorage area. Use the platforms you have and to go and address this issue. December 2020, we recorded, in December alone, we recorded attack of vessels coming into this country, 10. There used to be a time before December where almost every week we have to record an attack. But it gets to the toll in December where we recorded 10 different attacks. January, by the time we started utilizing this platform, we recorded 1. February, 1. I think even zeros, I can say. Either February or March, we recorded 0. And it continued to decline. We continue to see the respect from the international community. And then if you watch our own, plug off of these assets, you can listen to the Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization, what he says about the efforts we are making in terms of providing this maritime insecurity. Additionally, the ambassador to United States of America sent her defense attaché. The Gulf of Guinea sent their own representative, Prince of Gulf of Guinea from Italy. They sent their own representative in appreciation of this. So I think instead of my brother in railway to say he's the most lucky, I think I'm the most luckiest person because first of all, I must thank Mr. President and my supervising minister here for giving me a very sound monitoring and good purposeful leadership to ensure that we achieve this period. People will not realize and understand what we achieved because what we achieved so far is not only for Nigeria, it's for the entire Gulf of Guinea. And in the Gulf of Guinea, we have 32 countries. And almost hope was lost. They were confused. The Secretary General mentioned that the world, they are watching Nigeria on this issue. We are now providing the leadership in terms of providing maritime insecurity within the Gulf of Guinea for 32 countries. And among these countries, which country can come to near where we come in investing this kind of things? So the issue of maritime insecurity that we are saying now, what I'm praying for is for us, even if we are not in office, we continue to sustain the tempo.
The Deep Blue project, it's just one infrastructure
Yeah.
to deal with an aspect of maritime challenges that is bedeviling our country. There are challenges of capacity, there are challenges of technology, there are challenges of manpower. How are you resolving those?
Yes, Claire, I think you got it right. In my opening statement, I made mention of the issue of good governance and interventionary policies. Now, look at the issue of shipping development, for instance. There's an interventionary policies that can address the issue of ship repairs and ship maintenance by this administration. And in so doing, we invested in, procuring a floating dock. It cost us over 50 billion. The floating dock is available now, and we were unable to deploy it because of we are looking at the right place to come. Most of the ships we have here in Nigeria, and those coming to Nigeria, within the Gulf of Guinea alone, the Nigeria alone, the ship that comes on a monthly basis is traversed to almost 1,000 ships. So there will be an issue of bunker. They will have to buy fuel, they have to buy water, they will have to buy food, they will have to repair their vessels, they will have to buy spare parts. All this, if you look at it, a kind of ripple effect of the benefits that we're supposed to get in terms of employment that you get. But we don't have the ship repairs and ship maintenance that can be able to take care of those vessels. If you have those available, you can be able to employ more Nigerians to help in maintaining those. Now, at the end of the day...
Sorry, but we have institutes that are supposed to churn out the skills. to occupy those areas that you've talked about. We have the training institutes. We have I think Maritime Academy. We have all the what are their specific roles in terms of filling up.
Yeah, the institute, the institute can provide the professional angles of knowledge that are practical aspects. And that's what I'm telling you now. Very soon we are going to deploy the modular floating dock, and it's going to employ more Nigerians. The issue of taking your ships to go for repairs outside Nigeria, sometimes you go to Togo, Benin Republic, it's no longer going to be there. The foreign exchange that you are going to take from Nigeria to other countries to go and repair your ship in South Africa, as long as even Turkey, some of the ship owners take their ships up to Turkey. So it's no longer going to be there. Nigerians will be employed. The technical aspect of knowledge, they will learn it from that. We will now have to transfer knowledge from our own PPP. We are going to have PPP arrangement. The shipping management will come. NTA, they are there to provide us with Continental Shipyard. NIMASA, they are there to provide the modular floating dock. This floating dock is already in Nigeria. So all these things is going to be addressed. Now, on the other aspect of the institute, they are going to provide the professional angle. So in terms of technical capability and competency skills, then you have to go for practical aspect of it. And in so doing, that's where the interventionary policy that came in for us to be able to go and procure the modular floating dock and see that. Now, on the aspect of learning also, I mentioned we discussed the maritime insecurity. You see, the provision of these platforms that we are celebrating today, which Mr. President, flagged up last week, is just a kind of reactive measure. If there is any attack, we use those platforms. What are we doing to prevent that attack? So prevention. The issue of preventions now, we have to look into what are the causes. The younger Nigerians, especially in the Niger Delta areas, most of them, they don't have work. There are competent people that they can go and read, and they don't have the opportunity. Now, those who doesn't have work, we are trying to create a kind of what we call stick and carrot approach. Now, for the stick, we use the proactive measure. If you say you continue to be stubborn, we will now apply the issue of reactive measure. We go, we arrest you. The president signed into law our own Anti-Piracy Act in 2019. We started implementing it. Already that act sent about 10 people to prison already. Now, on the issue of those who can read, we are now training them, not in Nigeria. So far, we trained over 2,500 young graduates outside Nigeria, Greece, UK, and what it takes for you to train somebody 4 years degree, huge amount of millions of dollars. Sure. And we are not using them only internally. We can use some of them internally in Nigeria to work. And vast majority of them, they are now in different ships all over the world. They can go and take them. So shortly, not in far distance future, this 2,500, they will be able to be returning part of their income that they are working abroad for that, to ensure that Nigeria also gets a kind of exchange, just like they are having in Philippines or Malaysia, where vast majority of amount of money they are coming as national income is from those people working in diaspora that are returning home to come with. And again, we look at the issue of the provisions of spare parts. We have floating spare parts all over the offshore in our own territorial waters, where Nigeria will be able to get a job and have something to do.
Okay, now, thank you so much, Dr. Jamo. Honorable Minister, it's all about security. All the developments, all the achievements you've been talking about, which your ministry have been credited with, may turn out to note if insecurity takes toll on these facilities. Ohiri has talked about the rail lines and how insecurity seemed to be, affecting it. And on a very, humorous note, where you find a policeman, arresting a soldier arresting a policeman, and this kind of, arrest taking place, and the vandalization of these wells and the rest of them. How worried is your ministry about, securing these facilities, which you've already expended a lot of money on it? And of course, the Deep Blue Sea is one of such, and then the security is right there. We can see the impact there. What about the wells?
Well, the first is we're trying to do two things. The first one is I've met with the Chief of Army Staff, who has promised us to provide more security. I'm also going to meet with the Inspector General of Police to now fully arm the police in railway. I don't think they have enough ammunition, arms and ammunition. Then you also need to employ technology. However, for those who are using the track, I don't think they have security problem. All those, I think they've died by now. Before every week you will read the social media, oh, they've attacked the railway. It's not true. People are just cooking up all sorts of fake news.
Okay.
And for me, I don't get interested because I know that if it were true, I'll get the report immediately. And in each coach, you have not less than 2 policemen. So where you have 14 coaches in the track at any point in time, that means you have about 28 armed policemen. We're trying to construct the roads by the side of the track because we are buying vehicles the president has approved to introduce those vehicles to patrol the roads we'll construct by the track. So as the train is running, that's how the cars will also be running to watch what is going on. It is not happened yet. That's why you can see that sometimes these thieves are successful. But that's not also the solution. The solution is to enforce law and order, put these men in jail. When the MD of Railway told me that he has about, 300 something persons in their custody and they are feeding people. So why haven't they gone to court? They say because the court is on strike. Once the court resumes and they can be prosecuted, if they are found guilty or culpable, they should be jailed. The more persons you put in jail, the better for the society.
What about technology in this regard?
I said so. I said we're also employing technology, but you can't say anything about it until the procurement process is over. So we're waiting for the procurement process to be over.
Okay.
Honourable Minister, we'll take a short break. When we come back, I'd like to also take you back on the inland waterways development and what we're doing. You're watching...
Kogi is near Onisha.
Sorry.
Kogi is near Onisha, where you have the...
All right. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and we're looking at infrastructural development in the transportation sector. We'll be right back.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. This morning we're talking about infrastructural development in the transport sector. Honorable Minister, let's look at other aspects of your ministry. All efforts being put in place in order to see to it that things become, better for the common man on the street, and at least looking at how goods and services could be, brought to those tables that have been so much to pay for. The dry ports are one area that this administration seems to be giving a lot of attention to. I don't know so far how far. There are so many of them in this country, Kaduna, Ibadan, Kano, and the rest of them. How far have we gone in trying to make them fully functional, in trying to get the ports really decongested and then reduce the workload or the load on the seaports in this country?
The two dry ports that are functioning for now are the ones, are they functioning? One in Kaduna is functioning. That one I'm sure of. But the one of Kano is under construction. I was at the site. He promised that in 6 months it will be ready. And I told him I'll be there in 6 months. Why did I say that? I visited the one in Plateau. And they also assured me that it will be ready in 6 months. 3 years after, it's taking off, but it's not ready. I believe they were concession to individuals, Nigerians. And most of those they were concession to have not shown any strength or capacity to bring them to completion and fruition. The one that will be of interest to all of us Nigerians will be the one that the Chinese are building in Ibadan. That will look different from the rest, and I believe that the pace of work will be faster, and then cargoes could be moved into that. By the way, how many cargoes do you have in the country? The estimation is that you have about 30 million tons of cargo coming through Lagos. You have about 11 million tons of cargo coming through Port Harcourt. I don't think that you have up to 5 in Warri, and in Calabar. So Nigeria is not a productive country.
How do you mean?
What do you produce? That's why you can do 30 million tons of cargo. So there are no cargoes going out because you're producing nothing. You're only importing. And what you're importing is not even enough. But you import literally everything. You know, most people don't know we import meat. All these Fulani herdsmen, Yoruba herdsmen, Igbo herdsmen, it's only the minority that, you know, we're underprivileged. We don't have herdsmen. Since they all have herdsmen, they should give us our own herdsmen. We import meat. What I'm not sure is whether we're still importing fish. Because when President Buhari came, he said, no, he refused. We used to import eggs and poultry.
That's because the infrastructures, like again, are not developed. And we have people who are supposed to be doing that.
That's because Nigerians
fish, for instance.
That's because Nigerians don't wait for long gestation. They want quick money right away. I want to be a rich man now. They don't want to know that if you start producing chicken, it will take you 14 to 20 years to make the kind of billions you make in oil. So every Nigerian you meet, I gave an example of Nimasa. The same thing with the workers. Nobody approaches me to say, well, I want to work in NRC. Because NRC salary is 14,000 naira or 20, I don't know if you get there. But Nimasa is double that salary of this. So anybody you see, please help me now, put me in Nimasa. So if you check Nimasa before week, I'm sure we've added. I said it when I was interviewed 2 years ago. We've added to the problems of Nimasa, which is political. By the time we took over, Nimasa was overemployed by 1,000 persons. So when we took over, I'm sure we added, and we added because, not for political reasons, because you had only Southerners more in Nimasa than Northerners. So when Dakuku met me, he said, sir, this is lopsided. Between the South and Southeast, they've taken over the whole Nimasa. So we need to create an opportunity to bring in more Northerners, even if we don't balance it, but let it be a seeming this thing. So it is about production. We're not producing. We're a consuming nation. We consume everything. Okay, we even take the delight in saying, I'm just coming down from Ghana. See Ghana. I'm just coming down from Togo. Oh, Benin Republic. What mentality? So, for me, what's my responsibility? Provide the necessary logistical infrastructure that enables production. That's my responsibility. That's the direction of the president. That's what I'm doing.
Yes, Honorable Minister, you know, at transportation, they say it doesn't matter, you know, where you're sited, but what you do with it, the connections, and of course the barrier, you know, breakdowns. So if we're not producing, why building infrastructures? Why, you know, the linkages, dry ports, and all that? Why are we doing all this?
You didn't hear me.
Yeah.
If you heard me very well, I said that's why the president has moved away from the rent culture. Rent culture where we wait at the end of the month. How much do you get from oil? They say $20 million. Then transport take, works take, everybody take, River State, Imo State, Kano, everybody just takes, they come at the weekend. Then you visit the governor, forget governor, let me use myself as an example. So you visit the minister for transport, and as you're leaving, Claire, how are you? Say, fine, take $10,000. You go home, my husband, Amechi is a good man, he gave me $10,000. You didn't ask me where I got the money. My salary is $960,000, which is below even $3,000. So you take $10,000, you go home, you give your husband $5,000. Your husband takes $2,000, pays children's school fees, buys uniform. The man who got the money for children's school fees buys granite. The granite seller buys a goosey, the goosey seller. That's the economy we had. All dependent on that oil, this thing. And the president is saying, no, we can actually feed ourselves first. We don't have to import eggs. That's how we stopped all those importations. I hear there's a glut. I hear there are no eggs now in the market, but he had put the infrastructure in place for you to invest in egg production, for you to invest in poultry. A lot of people are not interested because the return is not as fast as getting contract for oil, right? He's put infrastructure in place so that the tomato producer in Kano can transport to the market in Lagos in a lower cost that makes him make profit. So for President Buhari, in my own calculation, he is trying to put those infrastructures that enables production to take place. Then the rest will be for the investor, the Nigerian investor, to decide to invest. But Nigerian investors are not interested in that yet. Okay,
let me go to inland waterways. Earlier you talked about the fact that there are challenges, but that they are working. I know when the Baru port was, commission. There was so much noise about it. The Onitsha port is there. We've made so much noise about that. What happened to the dredging of the channels, making them more viable, more navigable?
For what? Yeah, let's assume now that I wake up and meet Mr. President and say, Mr. President, I need 100 billion naira to be able to make the water navigable. The Baro, the water, the River Niger and River Benue. Who are the people to use it?
So we must wait until we have people to use it. Is it not part of infrastructure
development? I like Nigerians. You talk, we're very arrogant as if we're rich. We're one of the poorest countries in the world. Now, the president is building railways, right? And it will get to Baro, it will get to Minna, it will get to Onitsha. I'm not saying it is wrong to have those ports. It wasn't by us. We just met it and completed them. Now, if, therefore, it takes me 8 hours or 5 hours to Lagos, in which all the cargo, let's assume I produce in Minna, and I drop it up, because we're taking railway to Minna. So I drop the cargo on the wagon, and in 5 hours, my cargo arrives in Lagos. Will it not be cheaper and better that I use that than to now put it on our inland waterways and take it through another 10, 15 hours to Lagos, which is faster? Now that's one. Two, the cost of dredging, because it silts regularly. It's not as if you dredge today, you rest for 10, 15 years, you don't come again. If you dredge today, you must dredge next year. And it silts almost every day. But again, the last time I made comment about Baro, I had political backlash. That's why I've been avoiding that question. Because one young man asked me, Minister, why is Baro not working? And I said, listen, I've been proven right, that you can't put Baro and expect to work when the draft of the water is less than 3 meters. Which vessel will go there? And National Assembly members from Niger, and people start harassing me. So now when they ask me about Baro, we're working. They ask me about Onitsha, we're working. But the truth is, if I'm from Baro, or I'm from Minna, or I'm from Onitsha, and I'm a businessman, I prefer that you take a rail to Onitsha, and I move my cargo to either Port Harcourt or Lagos in less than 3 hours, than to wait for nearly a day for my cargo to come from Lagos by water. And for the country, it's cheaper. It's cheaper because you do railway investment, which is huge, and then you do maritime investment, which is huge. I hope that I will not be misquoted by other presidents.
Sure, you won't be for sure. Dr. Fidel Okiria, let's hear your views about ticket racketeering. All these have been put across for Nigerians to have things easy and have very good time on these trains, wherever they may be going to, especially from Abuja to Kaduna, from Lagos to Ibadan. You see, you're watching, you've seen what's happening in Kaduna, Abuja, Kaduna, and of course you're trying to see what you can do about Lagos, Ibadan. Ticket racketeering is a very, very serious issue along this road, talking about Kaduna, Abuja, and of course, having placed it on the net and you've got to go there to get it, it seems as if not all people do that, because by the time you go there, all the seats have been booked. And you've got to go to the stations in order to start looking for them and you get it. What are you doing about that, and how are you trying to address this and looking forward to Lagos, Ibadan?
People talk about ticket racketeering. As a person, I don't talk about the problem, I talk about the solution. Because most of the time, either the minister is called, I'm called that I bought ticket at a higher rate, and we ask them who sold the ticket, and they will not bring the person. Why? Because they want to patronize the person tomorrow. So, and there is nothing we can do about that. From there, we progress to e-ticketing, hoping to wipe the ticket racketeering. People now take it as a profession. Before I go on, somebody even took us to court that they have the right to buy tickets and resell. But unfortunately for him, we defeated him in the court. That was in Kaduna. Then we went to e-ticketing. When we started, the day we started, the internet was let loose. It's not working. It's working. It's not working. But I know as of today, nobody I think for the past 2 weeks, I've not been called to say. The only thing they will tell you that I tried to buy ticket, and it's all bought up, and it's true, it's all bought up. We limited that at the time you go to buy ticket, you can buy maximum of 2. You have to repeat it, and when you repeat second time, the system will not accept you. And most people who try to buy, because they have multiple email, they forget the email they use in registering, and they will not be able to buy a ticket. So the problem, as I say, is that demand outnumbers supply. So in the next 2 weeks, we are deploying the DMU, diesel multiple unit, in Kaduna, Abuja. So by deploying that, we have what we call 3 rigs. That's 3 sets of trains that we hope to do, I think, 10 or 12 trips a day. And you can now pick your time and buy your ticket. People hardly come to the station these days to buy tickets. Somebody called me that he came to the station to buy ticket. The lady at the counter said, please just use your phone. Let me show you how to use your phone. Because it takes the same time for me to book for you than to. And that's the level we have gone to. And that's why I said earlier that we have learned our lesson on knowing that the pressure we have on Lagos Ibadan, and the system they are used to on our narrow gauge system is going to be drastically different. So we are working very fast to ensure that we obey the laws and deploy e-ticketing as soon as possible, so that our people can get used to it. You see, it takes time to learn. That's what I'm saying. In Abuja, Kaduna now, sometime in the week I don't get a call about somebody saying I paid higher, or I couldn't access the platform, because people continue to learn, and we are teaching them when they have issue, even on phone. We have people, or what they call customer service attendants, and when you call them, they tell you how to go through and get your e-ticket. And we can't, for now, because of our culture and people trying to make easy money, we deliberately ensure that you can only buy a ticket for a train when it's 24 hours to that train. So that, because if you leave it open like you do in abroad, knowing our people, they will just block the seat. And we ensure that once you buy, you pay. You can't book on and hold. So that when you buy and we don't have refund, we don't have room for refund, and you pay, and maybe you have a mind of selling it, you don't have a buyer, you say, I couldn't travel, we don't have room for that. It's just to ensure that people are disciplined and follow allow people who really want to travel to have access to the ticket. So it's going to be a lot of work we are going to do on that. And you see, we have delivered the track, we have delivered the coaches. It's now time to deliver the service, and it's the service that counts. And I would say with the support we are getting, and the staff are motivated, not just because they are the reigning star. At least it's unlike the usual time, although the salary is still, we are all putting our heads together to see how we can improve their salary. At least they are encouraged that there is hope and there is a future, and that the rail system will not die in Nigeria. Because so the staff are motivated based on that, and they are cooperating. So far, so good. And we hope we deliver the best for our people. As I always say, if you don't put yourself first and you put the nation first, things will work well. Even if we are making mistakes, there is a way God will make sure it make it perfect for you. That's my belief, and I think we will deliver the service, and people will be proud of us. And it's not one person; it's all of us that will make it work. The person who wants to travel on train, the person who wants to carry freight on train, should do the right thing, and things will fall in place. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hira, thank you. We just have a few minutes to go, and I'd like Dr. Bashir Jamu to speak to us on the issue of seafarers, training and empowering them of course, we hear that when they are trained and they come out and they get their certification, they don't have where to practice. I mean, what are you doing to turn the situation around? I know we also have the training institutes that, equip these students with necessary skill. Are they in line with IMO's, requirement?
Well, there are so many issues in connection to that. First of all, I think as a side talk, we discuss the level of development of Maritime Academy Oron that has been transformed. The issue of training and certification in Nigeria must be in tune with international standard, because shipping is international in nature. You cannot produce a kind of worker in the maritime industry mainly for Nigeria, not to the standard of UK or United States of America. So basically, if you don't allow your training institution to be audited by the International Maritime Organization to ensure that all the necessary facilities is available for accreditation, just like the way we do accredit courses in our own universities here in Nigeria. The Universities Commission, from time to time, they go to different faculty of law, medicine, and other things like that to ensure that. So our training institution may not be recognized in terms of certification. Now we are getting to that level of standard. The Maritime Academy Oron, they are up and doing. In order to improve capacity, the Honorable Minister is granting approval for us to see how we can, develop our own fleet expansion. That's in terms of cabotage.
Okay.
So once we have increased number of vessels in terms of fleet expansion, then we have adequate fleet where we can employ those younger Nigerians.
Nadabo, you have the...
Yeah, maybe I just want to ask the Honorable Minister before we close, looking at the FCT, where we are, and of course Lagos, looking at the congestion in this. Briefly, sir, what would you say, or how concerned are you about the traffic situation in the FCT? Looking about maybe some rail lines here, looking at the corridor, Kefi, Nyanya, Abuja, looking at other areas in this town and the rest of them. How concerned are you about this, and what would you tell FCT residents?
The first thing is not the responsibility of Ministry of Transport to do intra-city railway.
Right.
It's not, even though there's no law empowering state governors to do, but they can be given franchise to go ahead and do it. What we focus on is interstate. But again, in Abuja, the Minister of FCT has completed a section of the FCT metro line. They need to expand further, because for now there's not much traffic because of the road networks. But if you're coming into Abuja, it will take you, just prepare for an hour when you're coming in the morning. If you're leaving Abuja in the evening, the same. Two things: the most alternative routes, one. Second thing, do rail lines, so that people will learn to park their cars at home and use the rail line.
What's happening with the Eastern Rail corridor that was?
Well, I think that I've addressed. I said this before the end of this year we'll start working. In fact, if I'm not being presumptive, or if I'm not making wrong estimation, before the end of August we should be able to start work. But what is delaying us now is not cash. Okay. We've paid some amount of money, not enough, but that's enough to go to site to start work, pending when the loans are signed. But what is delaying us is that we are yet to get approval from BPP to approach the cabinet for the employment of consulting engineers. The consulting engineers are those who supervise the job. So even though the contractor is ready to go to site and start work, he doesn't have an engineer to sign off on the drawings and designs to say, oh yeah, we're good with this, you can go to site with it. So we're waiting for that approval to come from cabinet, then we'll go to site.
All right, Honorable Minister of Transportation, right, Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, we'll appreciate your presence with us here today on Good Morning Nigeria. And we do congratulate you for the landmark achievement your ministry has been able to turn in. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let's also appreciate Dr. Bashiru Jamo, Director General, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. Thank you. Congratulations on the deep sea and also for the turnaround in NIMASA. And Mr. Fidelis Ohiria, the MD of Nigeria Railway Corporation, who joined us from our Lagos Network Center. We do appreciate you as always. Thank you very much, Madam.
Oh, well, thank you so very much for being part of this program this morning. Join us next week when we come your way with good topics for your delight. I'm Yusuf Nadabu Usman.
And I'm Claire Delabo Abdul Razak. Always remember to join us in the fight against rape and rapists. And do stay safe. Have a good weekend.